Hi, and welcome back to my build series on YouTube for the Dragon Bones downloadable content patch that happened recently. This is the meta Magicka Nightblade build that is going around. A lot of people are running this. It's a little bit difficult to craft some of the pieces, and it's also a little bit difficult to find the rest of the pieces, but once you get this build together, it really does do a great job. It's fantastic. Anyway, so let's get right into the skills. We go Impale on front bar, that's our execute, 25% or below. You're going to be spamming this instead of your main spammable. It's going to deal a lot of damage with Combat Prayer, Warhorn, Major Slayer, Minor Slayer, all those things combined is going to make this thing hit super hard. Funnel Health is our main spammable. It's cheap, easy to use. The range is a little bit lower. Actually, no, it's not. Yeah, the range is fine. The radius for the heals is 15 meters, so anyone within 15 meters is going to be taking a heal for 25% of the damage that you deal with Funnel Health. So if it crits for, like, 20,000 damage, then you're going to be healing the person next to you for 5,000 health. It's a really good it's a good ability. Merciless Resolve is on our front bar. Build up Deadly Momentum to gain Minor Berserk, increasing your damage done by 8% for 20 seconds. While active, hitting an enemy with 5 light or heavy attacks changes its ability into Assassin's Will, allowing you to fire a single shot from a spectral bow at an enemy to deal 20,632 magic damage and reduce their movement speed by 40% for 3 seconds. If this thing crits, you're going to be hitting 50k, and that's without Warhorn or anything else. With Warhorn and like Combat Prayer or something like that, you could be hitting anywhere from like 75 to 80k. We double bar Inner Light. This is for the extra magicka, because we're using Witchmother's Potent Brew, so we need every bit of extra magicka we can get. We're front barring this patch. We're front barring Twisting Path. This is for intermediate use. If you're not all that great with a Magicka Nightblade, then I would suggest back barring Twisting Path. This is a ground-based dot. And since we need a destruction ability on our bar, we're using Fiery Rage on the front bar to gain our Ancient Knowledge passives, which is 8% extra damage for direct damage with a Flame Staff equipped. Switching to our back bar, we're running Siphoning attacks on the back bar. When you want to let this run out, basically, it's like basically 3/4 of a trash potion, and it also gives you about 106 magicka recovery added on to what your base magicka recovery is. So you definitely want this up at all times. It also provides a slight heal, which is good. It doesn't really cost much to cast, and it does generate ultimate when you cast it as well, so it's just great. Crippling Grasp is our another dot that we have. Deals upfront magicka damage, and then a ton of magicka damage over time. It's like this right here. You watch this. When it's about 2 seconds to be done, you swap bars to recast this and Blockade of Fire, which is our second ground-based dot. Burning enemies take 20% more damage from this ability. So what you want to definitely be running Dual Flame to keep that burning status up. And there's going to be maybe 1 or 2 Magicka sorcerers in your raid groups as well that are going to be spamming Force Pulse with either imperfect or perfected Asylum staffs. So burning is going to be a big deal, and anything that gets hit by your wall of fire that's burning is going to take 20% more damage. So it's amazing. It's really good. Like I said, double barring Inner Light, and then we're going to have our Harness Magicka here as a shield. Just for survivability purposes, and this also restores a little bit of magicka every time you absorb a spell, so that's really good. Our main ultimate that we're using, when we can use it, is going to be Soul Harvest. It's the Deathstroke morph. So you do magicka damage up front, but the real reason we do this is to increase our damage against an enemy for 20% for 6 seconds. Also, this will proc Master Architect, which is our one of our sets that we're wearing, which will give us Major Slayer and a couple of, I think, 1 or 2 other people Major Slayer as well. So it's really, really good. It's a very good ultimate. It increases damage by a lot. So let's get into the sets we're using now. So I'm running Inferno Staff of Mechanical Acuity on the front bar. This is to make the 5-piece on my front bar only. I'm running an Absorb Magicka enchantment just to make my Magicka recovery just that much better. It's infused, as always. And Mechanical Acuity is actually a really great set, to be honest. It's great for Magicka and Stamina. So if you're going full damage, I would recommend Mechanical Acuity for almost any class. On the back bar, we're running an infused Maelstrom Inferno with Berserker weapon damage enchantment on the staff itself. We're not running poisons. Poisons aren't really that great for Magicka. You want your enchant more than you want your poisons. I think it performs slightly better. I'm running a heavy Helm of Mechanical Acuity. We're not running a monster set this time around because we need the 5 and 5. We need 2 5-piece sets. I'm running Master Architect 5-piece as well. This is a steady 5-piece, so no matter what bar I'm on, Master Architect is always available. It gives you and 2 closest allies within 28 meters of you gain Major Slayer for 10 seconds, increasing your damage done to dungeon and trial monsters by 15%. Very, very good, very powerful. It's extremely important in a lot of the raids nowadays to be able to get that much extra damage, because as we all know, resources got nerfed back in Morrowind, and now off balance is basically taken away, so we're not running off balance CP anymore. I'm running a Mollog Kina medium, so I can get the Undaunted passive. 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy. It's infused with a Magicka enchantment, and the reason why we're running it, so we get the extra spell damage. It's just raw damage. It's equivalent to, an extra 1,200 and 1,240 magic extra. So it's a really good. It's a really good option. You could run a couple other different sets as well. To get the 1-piece, like you could run one that gives you a little extra magicka, or one that gives you a little extra health, like Scoria. It all depends on what makes you comfortable. And then, Mechanical Acuity. My jewelry is Master Architect. So, yeah, that's it for the items. My sets that I'm running. So let's get into the champion points. These champion points, especially the spell erosion, this is for Vass. I was running Vass last week. It was the weekly. So I beefed up Elfborn quite a bit because we're using Mechanical Acuity, so we want our critical strikes to be, beefed up as much as possible, because 25% of the time we're getting 100% crit, so it's an amazing way to get a lot more damage. Elemental Expert, I bumped this up to 64. Spell erosion's at 32. In an optimized raid group in like the Craglorn trials, you'd probably run 24 spell erosion, and I take these extra points and I put them right into Elfborn. Running 81 Master at Arms. Some people say this is overkill. This works out great for me. I like it like this. And running 7 Thaumaturge. Why so little Thaumaturge? Well, you're not really relying on your dots for DPS. You're relying on your direct damage for DPS. And then, especially with the mechanical acuity set, your direct damage is going to take over what your dots could, anything your dots could do. And we don't really need the exploiter passive anymore because off balance is so low now. It's like tanks are running, lightning staffs now, and magic users are going to be running flame now. So that's just how it is. So yeah, 7 Thaumaturge. Some people might not agree with this. This is how I run it though, and it works out great. Red CP is set up for VAS, so this is all situational. Green CP, 75 Arcanist, 75 Tenacity. Some people bump these both up to 100, not me. I like to be able to have reduced cost block and reduced cost roll dodge for cases where I need to block and roll dodge. So yeah, that's it for CP. Let's look at my stat sheet. I'm running the Witch Mother's Potent Brew, and I'm using the Apprentice. I brought my vampirism down to stage 1, but ideally you'd want it around 2 or 3 in most trials, just to give you that extra magicka recovery, and the undeath passive is amazing as well. But so I've got 40k magicka, 1332 recovery. I'm almost at 16k health, 17k health. I mean, my spell critical is actually quite high. You don't really want to try to get it this high. I'm not, honestly. I think it's just the sets that I'm running that makes it this high. But when I'm fully buffed and fully procced, my spell damage is quite high. Honestly, it's. Oh yeah, let's talk about, since I'm double barring Inner Light. Let's talk about the potions that I'm running. They're actually a little bit easier to craft than other ones. Okay. So we're running Essence of Spell Power, but we're running the kind that give you major sorcery and gives you major intellect and restores magicka. We're skipping over the spell crit stat of the spell power potion, so you can actually buy these for quite a bit cheaper in guild stores, because you're skipping one ingredient, because we've already got that spell crit because of Inner Light, and it doesn't stack. So that's why we're running that. You could run buy stat food. I wouldn't personally, because you want the recovery. You want to be able to do a full light attack rotation at all times. So we run Witch Mothers. The other option and the better option, if you can afford it, is Clockwork Citrus Fillet. I do have a few of those, but I don't tend to use those because they're very expensive. I only use those in certain situations like VMA or doing like +2 progression or something like that. That's when I'd use that. But anyway, I hope this build helped you. If it did, leave a like, and please subscribe for more. Take care.